for proper assessment alongside revising textbooks. The interim government is continuing the rehabilitation program to restore normalcy in the post-flood agriculture. Under the program, flood-affected small and marginal farmers are being given free paddy seeds, fertilizers and cash assistance. A total of 13 crore 66 lakh taka has been allocated as incentives for 2,30,000 farmers. Agriculturists said this initiative taken by the interim government is timely and production-oriented. They recommended implementing additional policies for agricultural development in addition to providing incentives. Agriculturists claim that during the post-flood period, cultivation must be done carefully. Additionally, they recommended cultivating other crops because it is challenging to prepare an almond seed bed in the second week of September. Additionally, researchers advise adopting climate change-friendly farming permanently. According to them, production will be as anticipated if suitable farming practices are implemented gradually. Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Advisor Asif Nazrul expressed his hope that a transparent and inclusive judicial system will be formed without being influenced by revenge or vengeance. He expressed his expectation while addressing a view exchange meeting on International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973 amendment held at the Judicial Administration Training Institute in Dhaka today. Industries, Housing and Public Works Advisor Adilur Rahman Khan, Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives Advisor A.F. Hassan Arif and Attorney General Muhammad Asaduzzaman participated among secretaries, lawyers, professors and human rights activists at the meeting. They discussed a draft with several amendments and new additions, including maximum 10 years of ban against organizations that violate human rights. The law advisor said the draft will be sent to all concerned with law and justice and all opinions will be considered seriously. Information and Broadcasting Advisor Muhammad Nahid Islam said an autocratic fascist system has controlled everything in Bangladesh and suppressed the freedom of expression. He said this while exchanging views with officials and employees of Bangladesh Betar at a workshop on state reform and planning a future Bangladesh program without discrimination at Betar Bhavan in Dhaka today. He said the students and people sacrificed their lives in the mass upsurge to materialize the people's aspirations. Muhammad Nahid Islam urged all to work together to materialize the aspirations of the martyrs. Later, the advisor inaugurated the modernization of Jatiyo Betar Bhavan, digital studio and control room and visited different parts of Betar. Additional Secretary of the concerned ministry Muhammad Nazrul Islam and Director General of Bangladesh Betar Robindra Sri Borua were also present on the occasion. Relatives of the victims of enforced disappearances are now thronging the commission probing the incidents of enforced disappearances. Many families of the country were the victims of enforced disappearances during the 15-year rule of autocrat Sheikh Hasina's government. Muhammad Babul Mia, a resident of the capital's Darussalam, is one of them. He said a group of 10 to 12 plainclothes men abducted him and carried out torture, taking him to secret places. He was released after 1 year. Shahadat Hussain is another victim of Dhaka's Mirpur. He appeared at the commission with the allegation of enforced disappearance of his son Farhad in 2015. The interim government, led by Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, formed the commission to probe the incidents of enforced disappearances. For the first time, charges have been filed against Sheikh Hasina in the International Crimes Tribunal, alleging enforced disappearances during the tenure of the Awami League government. The complaint was filed this morning. According to the complaint, a young businessman named Inamul Kabir filed a complaint mentioning the names of 25 people, including Sheikh Hasina. Another complaint was filed against Sheikh Hasina in connection with the death of martyr Sheikh Ashabul Yamin, who was killed after being thrown out of an APC. BNP Acting Chairman Tariq Rahman has urged the interim government to work to fulfill the people's aspiration of the revolution, saying that the ghost of autocracy still remains even after the fall of autocracy. He made the call while addressing virtually a public meeting organized by Kishoreganj District BNP at the old stadium in Kishoreganj town today. In his speech, Tariq Rahman urged the BNP leaders and activists to help the interim government in carrying out reforms in the country quickly.
সমগ্র বাংলাদেশের মানুষ একটি নতুন প্রত্যাশা নিয়ে সামনের দিকে তাকিয়ে আছে, ভবিষ্যতের দিকে তাকিয়ে আছে। এটি সাম্যের বাংলাদেশ তৈরির জন্য, একটি মানবিক বাংলাদেশ তৈরির জন্য, যেই বাংলাদেশে মানুষ মুক্তভাবে কথা বলতে পারবে, যে বাংলাদেশে মানুষ তারা তাদের নিজেদের রাজনৈতিক অধিকার প্রয়োগ করতে পারবে, যে বাংলাদেশে মানুষ অর্থনৈতিকভাবে মুক্তি অর্জন করতে পারবে, সেই বাংলাদেশকে আমাদের গড়ে তুলতে হবে।
Now some international news. Around 300 people have been killed and more than 1,000 wounded in Israeli attacks across Lebanon. Lebanon's health ministry said children, women and paramedics are among those killed and wounded in the attacks. Israel said it is broadening its strikes against Hezbollah as citizens in southern Lebanon have received phone messages warning them to leave places used by the Iran-backed group. Lebanon's Prime Minister said Israel's action amount to a war of extermination, while Israel's Defense Minister said strikes will continue until they achieve their goals to return the residents of the north safely to their homes. As fears of a wider regional war grow, Hezbollah's second-in-command said a battle without limits was underway, and the group launched some of its deepest strikes inside Israel in decades. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is considering a plan to force all Palestinians out of northern Gaza to lay siege to Hamas and force the release of hostages. Anura Kumara Dissanayake has taken oath as 9th President of Sri Lanka. Dissanayake took oath at the Presidential Secretariat building in the capital Colombo this morning. In an immediate reaction just after taking oath, the new president said he understood the complexity of the problems facing the island country and he would work hard to realize people's hopes. He will try to meet up public demands. The 55-year-old leader of the People's Liberation Front, JVP party, and National People's Power, NPP alliance, won Saturday's election. Dissanayake ran for office on a premise to tackle corruption and clean up politics of Sri Lanka. He has a challenge of recovering post-bailout poor economy. The election was the first since mass protests forced Gotabaya Rajapakse from office amid an economic collapse in 2022. In the race of United States presidential election, a double-digit increase in popularity has vaulted Vice President Kamala Harris forward and reshuffled the 2024 presidential contest. With just over 6 weeks until Election Day, the NBC News poll finds Harris with a 5-point lead over former President Donald Trump among registered voters, 49% to 44%. While that result is within the margin of error, it's a clear shift from July's poll, when Trump was ahead by 2 points before President Joe Biden's exit. But the transformation in the presidential contest goes well beyond the horse race. For starters, Harris's favorability has jumped 16 points since July, the largest increase for any politician in NBC News polling since President George W. Bush's standing surged after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Harris also holds the advantage over Trump on being seen as competent and effective, as well as on having the mental and physical health to be president, a reversal from Trump's leads on those qualities when he was matched up against Biden. Ecuador's government has announced the suspension of electricity service for 9 hours on Sunday in 12 of the Andean nation's 24 provinces and placed 19 areas on red alert due to a drought that has reduced the water levels of hydroelectric plants. The blackout the provinces are experiencing run every day from 8 a.m. local time until 5 p.m. Ecuador is gripped by the worst drought in the country in 61 years and an energy crisis made worse by what the government says is lack of maintenance of existing dams and contracts to ensure new energy generation. Besides Ecuador, some other South American countries are also experiencing record drought. As a result, there are dozens of wildfires also seen in major forests of the zone. Now weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light to moderate rain or thundershowers accompanied by temporary gusty wind is likely to occur at many places over Rangpur, Khulna, Borishal and Chattogram divisions and at a few places over Rajshahi, Mymensingh, Dhaka and Sylhet divisions. Besides, moderately heavy to heavy falls are likely to occur at places over the country. Night and day temperature may fall slightly over the country, said the Met Office. Moving on now to sports. Bangladesh battled to a 2-2 draw with Guam in the AFC Under-20 Asian Cup 2025 qualifying match in Vietnam today. Bangladesh took the lead in the 6th minute of the match, with Mirajul Islam scoring the goal held at the Lac Tre Stadium in Haiphong. In the 75th minute, Guam equalized the margin. But Bangladesh took the lead again when Moinul Islam scored the second goal for the team. Guam also leveled the margin in the added time of the game. Bangladesh is at number 4 in Group A with 1 point from 2 matches. Bangladesh's next 2 matches are against Vietnam on September the 27th and Bhutan on September the 29th. A 4-member Proteas security delegation team visited the Sher-e-Bangla National Stadium in Mirpur today for the upcoming 2-match test series against South Africa. During the visit, they watched the dressing room, field, indoor practice facilities of the stadium. Later, they were also given an idea about what kind of security will be provided to the South African team from Bangladesh during the test match. According to the draft itinerary, the tourists will arrive in Bangladesh on October the 16th. South Africa will play the opening test at the Sher-e-Bangla National Cricket Stadium in Dhaka on October the 21st, followed by the series concluding match in Chattogram on October the 29th. The Proteas will depart on November the 3rd. Both tests are part of the ICC World Test Championship 2023-25 cycle. To wind up the bulletin, here again are the main points. 79th session of United Nations General Assembly begins tomorrow. Chief Advisor Dr. Muhammad Yunus on his way to New York to attend. NCTB hopeful of delivering standard textbooks to students at the beginning of new year by revising previous curriculum. Victims gather at the Inquiry Commission on enforced disappearances, demanding justice and yearning to get back relatives. Charges filed against 25 people, including Sheikh Hasina, in International Crimes Tribunal, alleging enforced disappearances during the tenure of Awami League government. Around 300 people killed in Israeli attacks in Lebanon, more than 1,000 injured. And Bangladesh draw with Guam 2-2 in the AFC Under-20 Asian Cup 2025 qualifiers in Vietnam. That's it from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for being with us. If you can, please do join us for our 11:30 Bangla News. Until then,